Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, and today I've got an interesting video. So today I've got a little video. It's the top indie sci-fi RTS games that I am looking at for this year, so 2022. So these are 4 games that I've checked out that look really interesting. So we've got Capital Command, Falling Frontier, Terra Invicta, and Fragile Existence. All of them look to be absolutely incredible, and like the amount of time and effort these devs have put into these games is absolutely incredible. And yeah, it should be really cool. So let's jump into it. So first up, we have Capital Command by Hellride Games. In Capital Command, you command giant space warships in epic 3D battles. Ships in this game are big and heavy rather than fast and agile, but they are strong, durable, and pack heavy firepower. When you fly Big Iron, combat is about planning and tactics instead of fast reflexes. Careful positioning, good situational awareness, as well as a willingness to take calculated risks are the hallmark of a great captain. So this is a really interesting game, and it reminds me of a lot of a game that came out a long time ago. And that was an absolute hidden gem of a game that was called Nexus Jupiter Incident. If you haven't heard that, you definitely go check it out. Either way, there is a demo of this, so you can test this game out. It's on Steam at this current time. It is still a work in progress, so bear that in mind, and a lot of features aren't in yet. Some of those features, such as a free-form sandbox campaign on randomly generated maps, and commanding ships from corvettes all the way up to massive and devastatingly powerful battleships, will let you really immerse yourself into that captain's chair that we wish was a real thing. Other notable features are the ability to upgrade your ship and even capture enemy ships, so pirating could be an interesting way to play the game. And the combat is interesting and fluid, if a little complex to begin with, and the learning curve is quite high, but learning to position your ship correctly to reduce incoming damage but present all your weapons at the enemy will be key to success. Definitely a game to check out and keep an eye on. So here we go, we have Falling Frontier next. Falling Frontier is a revolutionary sci-fi RTS where ship design, recon, and logistics are critical elements. Your expeditionary force has just completed construction of its first spaceport in orbit of a new world, but you are not alone. Rivals from the old colonial wars between Earth, Titan, Venus, and other lineages that divide humankind have also arrived in the same star system. This game looks absolutely insane. So on the surface, you have this very pretty, fantastic looking RTS game. You know, your standard RTS. Click a ship, fly it over there, it shoots the other ship, etc. But they've gone so in depth with this. The developer Stutter Fox Studios is just like, everything I've seen is knocking it out the ballpark. They've got whole logistic systems, from mining on certain planets to shipping it to where you need to, and all of that fantastic stuff that you normally find within grand strategy games, to designing your ships, choosing what type of weapons they are. The lineages that you can choose also affect all sorts of things. You can have, you know, ones that are better at research, or ones that are better miners, and some that prefer certain types of combat, maybe like laser weaponry or projectile weaponry. So it's really interesting, and it looks fantastic. These are some of the best looking graphics I've seen for a sci-fi RTS in a very long time, and this is probably easily one of the top looking RTS games. I will definitely be having something going on the channel with this game, probably another information series on how to play and that kind of stuff, because I think this game is going to be very in depth, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. This is going to drop on Q2 2022 at the current moment. Publisher is Hooded Horse. Again, shout out to them again, because, you know, from the intro they hooked me up. So yeah, absolutely, definitely looking forward to this. And over to the next one. So this game looks really interesting, and what's slightly even more interesting is this is by Pavonis Interactive. Now, if you don't know who they are the guys that did the Long War mods for XCOM, which are arguably as popular as XCOM itself. So this is their first standalone game. So yeah, it's looking really interesting. And again, it is published by Hooded Horse. And Terra Invicta just looks really, really cool as well. This is definitely more on the grand strategy than Falling Frontier and 4X. So let's have a quick read about the game. An extraterrestrial probe is detected approaching Earth. Unknown to humanity, an alien force has arrived in the far reaches of the icy Kuiper Belt and has begun mining a dwarf planet to prepare for an invasion. With Earth's nations unable to unite to address the alien arrival, transnational groups of like-minded political, military, and scientific leaders develop covert channels to coordinate a response. With aliens as motives uncertain, factions emerge, driven by hope, fear, or greed. You will control one of these factions. The Resistance works to form an alliance of nations to mount a coordinated defense. Humanity First vows to exterminate the aliens alongside any who sympathize with them. The Servants worship the aliens and believe they will solve all the troubles of the world. The Protectorate advocates negotiated surrender as the only means to avoid annihilation. The Academy hopes the alien arrival heralds the opportunity to form an interstellar alliance. The Initiative seeks to profit from the chaos and the destruction. Probably who I'm gonna play. Project Exodus plans to build a massive starship and leg it. So, it's really quite interesting. So, because of the way that the gameplay starts, you start on Earth. So you don't have, at the time of the game start, you don't have spaceships and stuff like that. You have to develop them. So you are starting on Earth, you know, uniting nations as one of the factions that you play as before you even get into space. So this is starting from like a really interesting perspective, and I don't believe I've ever played a game that's ever managed or ever even attempted something of this scale, starting off on a single planet, getting into space, expanding out, and it's all based within the solar system as well, our solar system, which makes it also quite unique because almost all sci-fi RTS games at the end of the day just throw you into a place that's just full of random planets you've never heard of. There is a few obviously that do specific things. There is one that you start with in Alpha Centauri and stuff like that. But this is the first one I think I've ever seen where you're going to be playing within the solar system and from a planet perspective outwards. So it's really, really interesting. Definitely looking forward to this one. And this is going to release in Q2 2022 and falls under the grand strategy genre. And here we have Fragile Existence by Fragile Continuum. Really interesting looking game. So the things that I can sort of gather about it is it's kind of like a weird cross between Faster Than Light and Planetary Annihilation. So if you ever played either of those, you know that in Faster Than Light you are running away from this big giant fleet, and that's what's sort of happening in this game. And at the same time, in this one, you're landing on these planets and setting up a base in this typical RTS sort of style where, you know, you place your blueprint, things go off and build it after acquiring resources and stuff. You go collect your resources and stuff like that. But then you take that all back to your fleet before the big giant death fleet catches up to you and you go on to your next system. So just a little bit of background here. The year is 2713 and Earth is attacked by a crushingly hostile fleet of unknown origin. And the near-Earth territories are left in all but ruins. The last remaining ships carrying what little is left of humanity must find a way to put aside their old disagreements and discover the means to survive out in the harshness of space, pursued relentlessly by an enemy that seems determined to wipe us from the face of the galaxy. Again, really interesting looking game. I've spoken a little bit to the dev on this, and Yeah, he's quite fun to talk to, and yeah, the idea of you scouting out planets and systems while being chased by a fleet that you can't actually do anything about, or potentially you can maybe once you've got enough resources and you've built your own fleet up and upgraded your ships. There's a whole research trees in here which is based on discovery as well. So trying to find the right research on the right planets, so you're scouting ahead maybe with smaller scout ships to get to the right places. It's a really interesting premise on a game, and definitely a really nice twist on an RTS game, adding a survival element into it. And the fact that it's got base building is really nice, because I haven't seen a RTS game, a sci-fi RTS game for a while. I think the last one was Grey Goo that had any decent amount of base building in it or anything like that. So, there we go. That is my roundup of the most anticipated sci-fi RTS games 2022 coming from indie devs. If the big devs ever get back to me, the AAA guys, I will do one including Homeworld 3. And yeah, there's a couple of big AAA companies doing stuff as well. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.